Hi, everybody. I'm Kitty, LA hairstylist, coming to you from Beverly Hills, California. I'm here to talk to you guys all about Iroiro hair colors. I'm going to be giving you all my best tips and tricks and secrets for creating beautiful mermaid melts and how to achieve just your best, brightest colors with Iroiro colors. So we're just going to wait a minute or two, give a few more people a chance to jump on, and then we'll get started. I hope you guys stay tuned all the way to the end. We're going to be taking questions at the end. So make sure you don't hold back. I'm here to help you guys understand the colors and help you get comfortable playing with the colors and making sure you guys get the best usage out of your colors, as well as, selecting the best colors for your hair color, no matter what color you start with. Okay. You're so welcome. I'm just as excited to be here with you guys. I completely love Iroiro hair colors ever since I first started working with them. They absolutely changed my life. The vibrancy is amazing. The amount of pigment in all the colors is amazing. I love the fact that they have completely chemical-free fragrances, all natural fragrances. So even the scent of the color, it's healthy for me, it's healthy for my clients. We're not breathing in any sort of caustic substances while we're inhaling them, because it's a completely natural fragrance. So it's one thing I really love about Iroiro hair colors. I'm just going to be reading along with you guys. And yes, all my hair is done with Iroiro hair colors. If you guys joined us on our pre-show yesterday, we were completely bleached out. We did a few bleach outs. We showed Iroiro hair colors UV reactivity. I'll try to make sure we have time to show you guys some UV action as well. But for right now, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you to Sally Beauty and Iroiro for having me here, letting me talk about my passion for Iroiro hair colors and melting hair. The main reason that I really like color melt is because I myself had pink hair for 10 years. And let me just tell you, when your hair is one solid color, I would go crazy about the spots and it's faded here and it's faded there. So the reason that I've really enjoyed, I switched from pink hair, not completely. There's a little bit down there still. I couldn't completely let go, but I went to this car show and I saw these beautiful, reflective, shiny colors. And I really fell in love with like this dreamy aqua color. And I figured the best of both worlds is to, add that new color, but also keep a little bit of my current color, which is something I teach my clients as well. So I'm treating you guys like you're my clients at home. I'll teach you how to pick the best colors to work with what you have to get the best results. Okay, so we're going to get started. I want to talk to you guys first about prepping your hair before you apply your Vivids. So I like to suggest that you wash your hair, apply on completely clean hair. If your hair is completely clean, you're going to get better adherence of your colors and more longevity of your colors. Okay, and then another great suggestion is you have to think about the base of your hair color that you select to see how great it's going to perform for your hair color. For example, like if your hair is black, that's very, very dark and deep. If we put, pastels, bright colors, vivid colors on black, we're not going to see too much of an effect, right? Whereas the lighter brown and tan and more natural blonde colors, you're going to see more of an effect from your colors. So you always want to think, what's your starting base? What color am I trying to go for? Usually you're going to have to pre-lighten your hair color. So that means bleaching or lightening, whether you do it yourself or professionally. You're going to have to pre-lighten your hair to get lighter to really enjoy the best true pigment out of whichever color you select. Okay, so the base you start with really depends on what color you're going to get from any color you get, any color you use on your hair. I do want to share with you guys, on a darker brown base, you can enjoy some beautiful, cool jewel tone colors on your hair. It doesn't have to always be completely bleached out, but you're going to get brighter, truer to life effects if your hair color is lighter. Okay, that's why we pre-lighten our hair before we do our vivids. Okay, and another thing that I want to share with you guys is what happens when we lighten the hair, right? Because some people, you know, they bleach their hair and then they try to put the pastel pink, the purple, and it just doesn't come out right, right? Why? What's going on? When we lighten our hair, when we go from black to brown, what we end up doing is all hair, no matter what color you start with, has some sort of underlying pigment. So when we're going from our black to our brown, underneath our black and our brown, there lives reds and oranges and golds and bright yellows. The best results you're going to get, the lightest results, is when you have a cleaner base, a lighter lift. You've taken the hair from very dark and brown and you've gone through all these brassy stages. The cleanest, lightest, palest blonde, we like to call it like the inside of the peel of a banana. It's going to get the closest, lightest, truest colors from your vivid colors. So you want to get it as light as possible. You can pre-tone the hair to cool down the color before you apply. That way your color is not losing pigmentation as you're coloring. Because if you put, for example, a blue hair dye on a hair that only got yellow orange, when you put blue on it, that yellow orange is going to use that blue to kind of cancel out the warmth. And instead of getting blue, you're going to get more of a green. So what you can do is mix up your formulation to kind of help you with that. So if I were doing a blue color on a yellow base, I would add in some extra violet to cancel out the reds and the oranges to help me get a more true blue versus getting a green when I want more blue on a red yellow base. Okay. So now that we've talked a little bit about prepping your hair, clean hair, no conditioner, we want to add our color onto completely dry hair. Now I'm going to show you guys a couple color melts and a few of my best tips and practices for getting the best results out of your color and creating beautiful seamless melts. So of course, like, my hair is a very popular color that I really love. So I'm going to show you how to create my color melt. So for this, we're going to use deep blue, pink, and turquoise. So up at the top, I do like more of a blue-green effect. So more of a blue-green. And then I like to shift into a blue before I go to the purple. That's actually one of my big tricks and secrets and best tips when you're going from one color to another. In order to make it a lot more seamless, you kind of want something within the same family, like a third color, instead of using two colors to get from one color to the other. The reason for this being is that turquoise has more of a blue-green base, and the blue between the purple is going to help us transition from blue-green to more of a blue into a purple, because green and red kind of neutralize each other. So if we try to jump from green or like a green tone blue straight to a purple, we're going to get kind of like a muddy effect. So to keep it more bright and more vibrant, we're going to use a third color, which is our blue after our turquoise and then our pink. Brocha y toalla. Do you have it? I gave it to you. I think the blue's right in front of you. That's violet. Okay. It's all right. We got our trusty rusty shop full of color right behind us. Deep blue is one of my absolute favorite colors, you guys. We have within Iroiro Colors, we have a blue, a deep blue, a light blue, an aqua pastel. We have all sorts of shades of blue. But the truth is, blues are very hard to get true to tone. Blues are really hard to get true to tone, and that's because within our hair, as I showed you on the as I showed you on the poster board, inside of our natural hair lives a lot of yellows and golds and orange tones, and those really fight against our those really fight against our blue tones. They really come out. So if we're not toning, we have to formulate around it. Okay, so one of my number one tricks and tips for when you're creating a beautiful, clean melt is not to overuse your product. And I can't stress that enough. Do not overuse your product. If you overuse your product, number one of the big things when you're doing your own color at home is I see a lot of people run out of color halfway through. So when you run out of color, you know, what are you going to do? Wait till the next day, run to the store. So I don't like to risk running out of color. So I start little by little, and Iroiro hair colors is very, very high in pigmentation. So a little bit goes a long way. And also you want to really be careful where you place your color. Since this is going to be my root color, my starting color, I'm going to start with just a little bit of product. I'm going to cover the top and the bottom section. If I were doing my own hair, I part down the middle, I clip up the top, and I just bring down my front panels. And I just go by feeling. And I like to use 2 fingers, one on top, one on the bottom, and I use those fingers to kind of pull the color down. So that's already starting to create my gradient, and it's also making sure I'm saturating my section all the way down. So if I was doing my own hair, I'd be using still both fingers, making sure I'm completely saturating those sections. So with the color that I'm going for, I really want my ends to be very bright pink, and I don't want too much of like a purple transition, but a little bit is okay. So I'm gonna make sure my hands stay nice and clean between my top colors. Now, as I go into my more blue color before I transition into my pink, I can use the same brush because we're working with the same families, but I just want to tap a very, very tiny bit of color onto my brush. Just a very, very tiny bit. I'm going to make sure my hands are clean. And I'm just going to use that same scissoring effect, saturating, but also blending and dragging down. And I like to add my blue little by little because the conditioner base that's in the color is going to help spread out the pigment and make it easier to melt and slim down as I start adding that slight blue transition so the green doesn't mud out after the turquoise before I go into the pink. If I still see a little too much greeny, I can add just a little bit more. I'm using the deep blue because the deep blue does have a little bit of that violet base, and my doll's hair is a little bit on the gold side, and I want a little more of a true blue in this middle transition. Once again, like I said, to cool down the natural yellow tones in the hair because we want more of a blue than a green. We want the more green at the top. Okay, and I'll just go just a little bit more. And then I'm just going to use my hands for this part. Nice clean hands. Clean brush for my bright color because I really want to keep the vibrancy of this. And I'm going to start at the ends so that my ends are nice and bright. I'm going to fully saturate my ends. And as I work my way up to the top, I'm going to start melting those colors together and start mushing. At this point, I'm going to create actually a 4th color. So it's even a 4th transitional color to give even more dimension to my model, to my hair, to my own hair. I just like to keep it interesting. It's okay if we use a little more pigmentation than we expect, more pigment, not product, because we're going to get, like I said, a 3rd color. Instead of just having blue, green, blue into pink, now that little bit of blue dragged into that creaminess of the pink from the conditioning base, we're going to create a purple. So now we have a 3rd color, a seamless melt into a brighter end. Okay. One of the most difficult colors to maintain the brightness when you're doing a melt is when you're using yellows. So yellows are a whole other ball game, I want to say, especially when you go to rinse. So I really, really highly recommend if you're doing your own color at home, what you can do for those bright ends to maintain them is when you go to rinse your hair, you want to pick up your hair and let the water just fall down the top so that darker color on the top doesn't rinse down. So you want to pick up your hair as you're showering, as you're rinsing, so that those bright ends don't get contaminated by that top bright color in your hair. Okay, so that's just a tip. All right, so let's say, so here we're working on more of a pink base. So on this pinker base, we're going to go ahead and create a little bit more of an aquatic look. Remember, a little bit of product goes a long way. We want to fully saturate. We want to fully saturate. And then make sure we go in with our fingers and spread down that product. Start creating that gradation. And also using the best amount of pigment out of our product, so that we're not wasting, and also we're not creating harsh lines. Because what happens if we use too much product? Number one, we tend to run out of product and we don't have enough to complete our full head. Another thing that can happen is we start to create an excess of product, and we can't fade it as much. So if you want seamless transitions in your colors, you want to start with little bits of product. You want bright colors on the ends, or you want to transition from a darker color to a lighter color. Let's say from here, I wanted to keep this more of a pastel vibe. What I like to do, if I wanted to go from, say, an intense color to a pastel vibe, one of my favorite things to do is to ice out my melts. And sometimes my clients, they might come in for a root retouch and they want to transition from one color to another. But when you do the roots, it ends up brighter and you have residual color on the ends. A lot of times when we're trying to stay on the lighter side, I like to use colors like silver to just fill the ends without over depositing more color. Because remember, we're trying to transition to lighter colors. So here I like to use the silver to kind of create a smoky effect, but we're also filling those ends and creating a barrier with the creaminess of the color. But by using the same strategy as melting the colors on our other side for our mermaid melt, we're using the silver to drag down a little bit of pigmentation from our brighter color to create a beautiful seamless blend, a nice bleed, but also create an icy effect while maintaining lighter ends, so that our client can transition into lighter, blonder colors or more pastel colors. Back that up a little bit more for you guys so you guys could see a little bit better. Make sure you see those beautiful light ends. So that's another tip and trick that I like to use, is using minimum product. Minimum product to fully saturate. Use your fingers to seamlessly drag and melt your colors together. And also using silver to pastelize and maintain lightness in your ends. So that's 3 different tricks right there. The best, and like I said, the best thing about creating gradient colors and color melts is that your client doesn't necessarily have to worry about the fade. Sorry, not even your client. You guys are the client right now. I'm so used to educating and talking to people, and I get a little confused about who I'm talking to, but sorry. I have a lot to say. I really love all these colors. So let's just do this one more time. So to maintain lightness in our ends and a beautiful melt, one more time, we're adding minimum product. So starting little by little so that we don't run out of product because we're working from home. So a little bit of color. When I do that next section, even when I'm working from home, I always like to go back and just to intensify my last section, I like to go over and just deepen the base just a little bit for a little more gradients. And that way I know I have a beautiful blend. All the root is covered, but I'm also not wasting product. And since I'm not going to touch that section anymore, I know it's going to stay nice and clean. So now I've resaturated. Minimum product. Now we're going to go in Drag that down just a little bit. Actually, I think that needs just a little bit more. So we're gonna add just a little bit more. Remember, a little bit goes a long way. These colors are super high pigment packed. So a little bit goes a long way. Using our fingers to drag down, start that gradation. And then I like to go straight out of the pack sometimes, just because, especially when I'm working from home, I don't tend to have hundreds of bowls and clips and whatnot. So I want to keep it pretty easy. So I'll work straight out of the bag sometimes and just apply the color directly onto the hair. Make sure I really saturate those ends with the lighter color that I'm working with, and then melt it into that transition line. So remember, a lot of times our melt, the key part of our melt is really rubbing in those transitions when we're going from one color to the next. And keeping the ends clean or bright or light. The trick is cleaning your hands in between sections, okay? So keep your hands nice and clean. Apply your light color starting at the ends, and then always drag back up and mush with your fingers. Use that scissoring effect between the fingers to bring down the color. And before we move on to the next section, reapply just a little bit to intensify that root color, okay? So let's do one more over here. So we get our mermaid color melt as well. Now on this one we had our turquoise. This was we're using 3 colors to create our 4 colors here. It's more similar like my color placement. This is where I like to share it because it's a very easy color to live off of. And I've found different ways of playing with it. I can play with the intensity of the blue, the intensity of the green, how much purple, pink, or violet I leave on the ends. So another great thing about color melts is that you're not really stuck with one color or the other. And as it washes out, you have different experiences. So you get more than one experience out of a certain color placement. And then, you know, at home, you know, we're all trying different things right now. If you have different colors in your hair and one fades more than the other, but it turns out you like it, you can always add more to that color or tone it down, or like I did on the other side, live with the lighter pastel version, switch into something more silver, more icy, and just maintain that fade and really enjoy what I like to call a whisper of the colors of the past. So don't think you always have to completely remove one color to move into another color. As long as you're using your colors little by little, you're not overusing your product, you create less of a mess for yourself, and the colors are a lot easier to blend. Jay, fíjate si se puede abrir. I think we're having a sound issue. Let me double check. Okay, I can hear myself. Just making sure. Sorry, I was just checking, make sure you guys can still hear me. Okay. All right, so let's do one more of this section. So here we did our blue, and then we went in our turquoise, and then we went into our blue. And now we're gonna go back into our pink. Make sure our hands are clean because we want to keep that nice bright pink at the ends. So when you want brighter, lighter colors at the ends, you want to start depositing that brighter, lighter color at the ends. And then as you work it in, work your way up. The excess color on your hands, you can use to start blurring into your middle transitional color, which is our blue. That's going to give us that 4th color that we just created, completely custom out of just the 3 colors that we started. And I'm going to take just a tiny bit more of that blue to intensify my transition just a little bit. And then before I go on to my next section, I'm going to go back in and reapply at my root. Okay. And always consider when you're coloring your hair at home, and this totally has to do with color melting. When you're coloring your hair at home, you're technically bringing your hair to the front. So when you bring it back, you're already going to have what we call over direction from bringing it to the front and painting your hair here. When it goes back, you're already going to have a nice gradation already kind of built from that over direction. So bringing your hair to the front, starting with one color, bringing the next color down, as long as you keep your melt eye level and you're using that minimum product and you're making sure you're using your fingers to spread that product out, you're always going to have beautiful blends. And when you kick your hair back, you're going to have seamless flowing colors. Okay. So keep that into consideration. Keep that tip in mind. Pull your hair to the front. When it goes back, you're going to have a beautiful, beautiful blend. All right. So a couple other things I wanted to share with you guys with Iroiro hair colors. Yes. So when you're going for your pastels, you want all those lighter, brighter, barely there colors. You really want to work on your lighter bases. Another thing they're really, really good for is toning your hair. So say you had a little bit of this pink left over in your hair color and you're really over that pink. What you can do is instead of forcing out the pink, you can go with the opposite of that color that you're working with, and you can try to cancel it out. So instead of trying to remove and lighten hair that's already been lightened so that we don't cause any more damage, we're going to use our hair color. Can I have seafoam? We're going to use our hair color to neutralize. So that means we're not going to take out the color. We're just going to use the opposite color of what's in the hair to cool it down and give us more of the opposite effect. So the opposite on a color chart of pink is green, or more like a tan green. So a little bit of gold in it, a little bit of green. So we're going to use our seafoam. Like I said, I like to work directly out of the pack. I just want to make sure that we fully saturate. And I'm going to leave out a piece of this so we can kind of see the difference. And we're just going to use that slight green hint to neutralize, to kind of calm down that pink, to give us more of a blonde effect. That way we don't see the bright pinkness. We're going to see a softer blonde. That way we don't have to worry about walking around with pink hair. It looks a little bit more natural. Say you don't have time to bleach out your hair, or your hair's a little bit more on the damaged side or a little bit more compromised. You can go ahead and reach for your Iroiro hair colors in your pastel shades to neutralize stains from old color or stains from, transitional color. When you want to go lighter, brighter, you want to go back to natural. Using the opposite shade of what's in the hair is going to help neutralize and calm down those residual stains. So I'm going to zoom in for you guys on this one so you can see that little bit of green as I'm working it into the hair. The hair is starting to go a little bit more on the icier, cooler blonde side versus being overly pink. Just want to maintain clean hands. So using your pastels is going to help you neutralize color stains. And also remember, if the hair is damaged and you don't want to bleach the hair more, you kind of just want to move away from that color, you can use the opposite color of what you have in your hair to neutralize and help you treat the hair at the same time. Because another good thing about Iroiro hair colors is that they do contain coconut oil and quinoa protein, which at the same time that we're coloring the hair, we're also giving the hair a nice treatment. So as it sits in the hair, I usually let the hair color sit about 15 to 30 minutes, depends on how vibrant or how intense I want the hair color to come out. Another thing would be how porous the hair is. So for example, on the pastel side here, this doll's hair is a lot finer, a little more damaged. It's been processed a little bit more. And we're going for pastels. So pastels don't really need to sit very long. On this side, if we were doing brighter colors, we would want to let the brighter colors sit a little bit longer, maybe the full 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you could rinse. I like to suggest rinsing with cool water. And always, like I said, if you're working with darker shades on top, lighter shades on the bottom, as you're rinsing, make sure you kind of pick up your hair so that that darker color does not wash down into your lighter end. So you have a nice, beautiful finish. What else can we do for vibrancy? Cold water is good. I'll get back to you on that one. There was one more point I wanted to make. Okay, so another little quick suggestion that I like to use with Iroiro. Say, you know, I'm doing my hair color at home, right? This is DIY University. We want you guys to learn the best things that you can do at home. Say at home, I had some roots, you know, like my roots kind of grown out, or maybe like my root retouch, I did my root myself. It came out a little too yellow. What you can do, black, please. So here we're gonna go with pink, just because pink is one of the most popular colors with Iroiro. Let's say this pink, I was applying it on my hair, but I had a little bit of roots. I had a little bit of regrowth, and I kind of want to hide away my regrowth, but I still want to have my beautiful intense hair, but I don't want to focus so much on the regrowth. I want to blend it away. I want a soft transition. I just want a soft transition from my grown out roots. Maybe, you know, it's been quarantine time, or, you know, budget friendliness. I want to go home. I want to color my hair. I want to hide my roots. What can I do? One of my favorite things to do is use Iroiro black. So our black is like a blue violet base. It's one of my favorite things to do to kind of blend away a root. And the best way, remember, we're talking about keeping bright ends. That's one thing that I want you guys to do and maintain. So when I'm working with darker colors and lighter colors at the same time, I like to fill first my ends with that brighter color so that I know I'm not going to have to go back and touch these after I apply my darker color. So I already filled the hair. Once the hair is full of one color, it's like a sponge. It's not going to absorb so much more. So if I happen to tap it or touch it with a little bit of black, I don't have to worry too much. But I can apply my pink all over my whole entire head and then go back. And remember, little by little, we're just using a little bit at a time. Saturate that root. And you can either mush, but this time we're not going to drag all the way down because we just want to kind of blend away our root. So instead of mushing, we're going to really press against the root because that's where the darkness will be when our roots grow out at home. And then instead of mushing down and scissoring this time, I'm going to push down right where the root is. And then I'm going to press and lift up to kind of create a little bit of a blur without dragging down, because this dark color will smoke out my lighter color. I don't want too much of that. I just kind of want a little bit of a blur effect. So I'm going to make sure I push down and saturate right at the root. And once I get to where the pink starts, or say where our bleached out part starts, and we want to kind of just gradiate it instead of scissoring because we don't want to create lines, we just want to rub into the scalp. And then like a little ski slope, we're going to swoop our finger up. So just a little blur with the finger, just a little flick with the finger. All right. See, so it's nice and clean. Our transition is nice and soft. And this can work with any color, you guys. Like, I've had a lot of clients that come in and they have sensitive scalps. So even at home, if you think that you can't get beautiful bright colors because you have a sensitive scalp, because your scalp can't take bleach, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy bright colors. You can always keep it off your scalp, you know, do a grown out balayage, old highlight. As long as you have some sort of level of lightness in your hair, you can totally have fun with your color and, you know, just play with the ends. And then, like I said, you don't have to, you can enjoy the gradation, the melts, the transition from one color and another as they wash out. And you don't really have to stick to just one color. Okay, so what if I'm limited on colors, right? So if I'm working with very limited color, what I like to do at home is instead of pouring all my color into one bowl or one dish all at the same time, I like to pretend it's like budgeting financially. I like to pretend I'm broke, so I like to pretend I don't have that much color. So I'll pour like half a bowl out, and I try to get through my whole head conserving that bowl. And then once I get to a point where I'm like, okay, this is gonna get pretty far, then I know I can, start using a little bit more color. Or if I have color left over, one great maintenance tip is any leftover color that you have, you can mix it in with your existing conditioner or your mask, whatever you use at home. Your leftover color, don't throw it away. Mix it in with your conditioner or your mask, and you can use that as a self-made conditioning mask at home that's also going to refresh your color. So that's another really great tip. Yellow, red, blue. Thank you. Can I have clean bowls, please? Okay, we're gonna do one more little rainbow for you guys. And we're gonna, this is what I like to call our minimalist rainbow. So this is like pretending I don't have a lot, but I wanna get a lot of bang for my buck. And that's something I truly get from Iroiro. Whether I'm working with my pro size large bags or with my smaller size bags, my smaller 4-ounce bags of Iroiro, I know I can get out every single last drop. And that's something I really like about the brand, is that I can get so much color out of just one tube, one bag. If I really, really wanted to stretch out, especially like the vibrant colors, like my pink, I could just add a whole bunch of Liberator, which is our clear, and I could really stretch out that color. So say if I go to the store and I need 8 ounces of color, but they only have 4 ounces of, say, like bright pink or my blue. What can I do? I need to color my whole entire head, and I know 4 ounces is not enough. You can get some Liberator. You can mix that into your color, and you're really going to stretch out your color and get even more bang for your buck. So if I have, a 1/4 ounce of pink left, but I have a whole bag of Liberator, I know that I can stretch that out, and the color is so intense, I'm still going to get an intensely vibrant pink. And now I went from having maybe 1/3 of a bowl to 3/4 of a bowl, by adding Liberator. So these colors really do pack a punch. As a salon owner, I can pack months worth of color onto one shelf in small space. And like I said, you can really, really just drag out and stretch out your color as far as you potentially want, because it's so pigmented. So we're talking about pigmentation, mixing colors, working minimally. So we're going to pretend all we have is this little smidge of blue, a little bit of yellow, and some pink. We're going to work with our pink. I need 2 more bowls. So what can we do with those colors? Pink, we're going to treat it as if it were our red, right? So we're going to take some red, and out of these 3 colors, we're going to mix up another custom 3 colors. So we're going to stretch out our 3 colors and make them into 6 colors. So we're going to take some of our blue with some of our pink, and we're going to mix up a custom purple color. I like to start with the lighter color first and little by little add it to my liking. Just because if you start with your darker color first, you waste a lot of your lighter color really trying to stretch it out, because the dark tones really tend to take over. So even if I were working like on a dark color and creating pastels, I would start with Liberator first, a lot of Liberator, and then little by little add drops of the color that I like to stretch it out and create those pastels. Can I have a couple more brushes, please? Just a little bit more to create my custom little purple tone. So I've got my purple there. Now my yellow and my pink, I'm gonna keep my yellow. I'm gonna add just a little tiny bit of this pink. Oh, sorry, guys. So lots of yellow and just a little bit of pink. And right before our eyes, we create a beautiful, kind of like mac and cheese, gooey orange color. So yellow and pink give us our orange. Okay, and then what's our last color? We're gonna mix a little bit of our yellow with our blue. So even when you're just working with a little bit, but you want big impact, you can custom blend your colors and mix up those colors and get something completely different. Okay, real quickly here. Let's start with our darker color because those are the hardest ones to blend back if we do kind of have a boo-boo. Okay, so plus she's already blue down here. So when it comes to a rainbow, I know we all like to, you would think that we want to keep everything nice and clean and precise. But the truth is, I like to leave a gap between my rainbows so that I can create the fluidity by myself, by hand. A little bit yellow there. I'll go yellow. Orange. Pink. Purple. And then the scariest part to make this seamless at home is the fact that you actually have to get in there and rub your rainbow down. It's one of the scariest parts to do because we think we have to keep everything super separate and clean. But if we don't kind of smudge the colors together, you can get hollow points and you're going to really see through your colors and your transitions. And then you're going to have gaps in the middle and it doesn't look as effortless and holographic and shine. We really want to enhance that shine and give it that soft, seamless fluidity. So just like before we were scissoring the colors between our fingers to kind of melt them together, here I'm kind of just putting my hand underneath and transitioning down into the next color just to create a little more fluidity, a little more seamlessness. And you could see where I'm getting myself into trouble because I use too much product. So remember, like I said, less product is better. If not, you make more of a mess. You get a little more splotchiness. So less product is better. As you can see, got myself into a little problem by using too much product, but just gonna enhance that right there and finish that off there. And that's about all my tips and tricks when it comes to color melting and mixing colors and stretching out your colors. I'm going to take some time to take questions from you guys. Recommendation for toner. Toner really depends on what you're going for. If you're more on the gold side, if you're more on the red side. And also it depends on the color that you're trying to achieve, because some colors, if you put a toner into some colors, you're going to sadden or make those colors less vibrant. So what I like to do is formulate for my my end goal. So instead of toning the hair, sometimes I'll add more of one color to my formula in order to tone at the same time. Questions? Okay, let me see. Trying to get to your guys' questions. 1 second. How many ounces does it take you to dye your whole head? These are extensions. So to dye these extensions, I used 4 ounce. It's 4 packs of extensions too. So it's more than a human head. For my regular head, I can use 4 ounces of a deep blue, because this I use deep blue when I don't want to work too much for my hair. I use 4 ounces of deep blue, and I use 2 ounces of the teal, because the teal I don't use I don't use too much of the base color. I kind of just cover the roots with the base color, and then I use more of the transitional color in the middle. So I use about 2 ounces for my whole roots. I use 4 ounces for my mids, and maybe about an ounce or two of pink to create the melt and the brightness at the ends. So in total, for a full thick head is like 4 to 6 ounces of color. But remember, if you're limited on color, you can always stretch out your color using Liberator. You can use things like the silver or the platinum to kind of pastelize and stretch out your colors some more. So don't be afraid of mixing colors and, dragging and melting. Do we use a color sealer for after? I do not use a color sealer for after. What I like to do is just rinse with colder water. And I usually try not to wash my hair for a day or two, just so that way I have 24 to 48 hours for my hair to kind of just go back to its natural pH by itself. In order to keep my hair colors lasting longer, healthier, I like to alternate how many times I shampoo in a week. I'm not going to say I don't shampoo. I love shampooing my hair. I love clean hair. But what I do is I'll shampoo, like, say I shampoo Monday. I probably am not going to shampoo on Wednesday, but I will rinse and just get my hair really, really wet and nice and squeaky clean and just condition. So I alternate between a rinse and condition and a shampoo and condition. So I like to really, really moisturize my hair. And then when it comes to coloring my hair, I color my hair maybe once a month or once every 2 months. I do my roots every month and a half, and I color it when I do it then. But unless I have a special event, I literally just let my hair just fade out, and I start to see more pastel versions of what it starts as. And so that helps me enjoy my hair color, not work so hard for it. What color would you use your coppery orange undertone and you need it to neutralize? If you want to neutralize coppery, and neutralize meaning you want to make it look less gingery, you want to look it more natural, like on the brown scale, you can mix some seafoam, because the seafoam is green. The green will help cancel out those red orange tones. But that's if you want to stay on the lighter side. If you really want to like custom mix something and make it more brown, you want to richen it up, you can add some gold with some green. I know it sounds weird, but the gold is going to help you get back to the neutral side, the natural hair colors. But the green is going to help matte out the oranges and the reds in the hair that make it too coppery. Okay. Question. Because of quarantine, I was fully without coloring. I would dye it blonde, but now I have that growth. My natural hair, salt and pepper, now are as gray in it. The blonde, I would like to dye it gray. Can I do that? If you want to dye, you can use the platinum. If you really want to make your hair a little more icier, more gray, I recommend using our platinum versus our silver. The platinum is a lot more pigmented versus the silver. Can I have platinum and silver, please? Okay, take some of these bowls, please. Here. Okay, keep your questions coming, you guys. I'm here for you guys. All right, so I'm going to demo this real quick for you guys. Straight out of the pack. This is our platinum. Because some people like to ask questions, and honestly, Iroiro Silver, I've used several different brands of vivid and semi-permanent colors throughout the years. And Iroiro's silver and platinum are honestly the best silver tones that I have ever worked with. There's no green to them. They don't stay too purple. And especially when you're working on men, or men doing their hair that don't like it too purpley, or like too purpley, too lilac-y, it's too like bright for them. They really want to go more platinum, more gray. This is the platinum. Platinum is going to give you that natural cooling effect. Okay, so platinum, I like to consider it a little more steel. It has like more of a mauve violet silver to it without being too purple. And then I'm gonna clean my hands and I'm gonna show you guys the comparison with the silver. These are also the platinum and the silver, depending on the blonde that you like. If you're a highlighted, if you just have like some old highlights, if your hair's turning a little brassy, you don't really want to have mermaid hair and be vivid, You don't necessarily have to be vivid in order to enjoy Iroiro hair colors. Like I said, they are vegan, they're cruelty free, but they're also packed with coconut oil and quinoa protein. So they're also very reparative and restorative to your hair. They're very highly moisturizing. So if I wanted to tone my hair and I was just a blonde, it depends on how icy or how white looking I want my hair. You can use either the silver or the platinum on your hair to cool it down. The platinum's going to give you more of a steely silver, like steel effect, and the silver is a lighter version, cooler, but still no green to it. There's no violet to it. So it's very, very good for transitioning salt and pepper hair and just canceling out natural yellow tones. So here's the silver on the right, or my left. And here's the platinum on the left. I mean, my right, sorry. This is silver, this is platinum. So if I wanted to tone my hair and treat it at the same time, give it a moisturizing treatment with Iroiro, I can do that. Semi-permanents are not just for vibrant mermaid hair. We can also tone our blondes. And honestly, my hair feels so much better when I have fresh color in it. When it's been a month or a month and a half and I haven't put any color in my hair feels sad. It feels empty. It feels a little lifeless and dull. That's when I know it's time to recolor my hair, not just because I have roots. Sometimes my hair is just faded and hollow and it just really needs that moisture kick back in. Okay, so even you blondes, whether you want to be the silver, more silver white, or more like steel silver, you also can neutralize your hair with Iroiro and get a nice moisturizing, restructurizing treatment and get rid of that Goldilocks effect. Okay, so all blondes of all shades and colors can enjoy Iroiro colors. Okay, you guys, I want to give you another opportunity for questions. I want to thank you so much for being here with us today. I hope you learned something. I hope you picked up some tips and some tricks for coloring your hair at home. Follow me on Instagram, Kitty LA Hairstylist. And I always post crazy transformations, whether people are going from super long, thick, dark, natural hair to complete mermaid transformations in one day. I enjoy doing transformations. I love mermaid hair and bright hair and mostly healthy hair. So with Iroiro, I get to create bright hair, healthy hair. I'm not breathing in any caustic fumes. They smell great. My clients are super happy, and they love especially that when they run out of color or if they're fading, they know they can just run to their local Sally Beauty and buy some color and refresh their hair on their own. So they don't always have to run into the salon to see me. They can easily just go to Sally Beauty or easily order online with Sally Beauty and have their color within a few days, or they can order pickup and have it in a couple hours ready to pick up at the store for them. So Sally Beauty, thank you again for having me. Iroiro, thank you for having me. And I hope you enjoyed this mermaid melt tips and tricks class, best practices and picking your own colors. And I hope you guys create some beautiful new gradient mermaid looks and tag me so I can see all your beautiful work. But if there's no more questions, I'm going to be signing off now. And just remember, you can pick up your favorite Iroiro hair colors at Sally Beauty. And thank you for being with me for my live DIY University by Sally Beauty.